The 2018 Mercedes-AMG S63-S65. The S-Class is an old nameplate for Mercedes, dating all the way back to the 50s. Back then, Merc called it the Sonderklasse special class in its native German, adopting the current S-Class badge in the early 70s. These days, you can get a variety of S-Class variants, but the quickest of the bunch tout the letters AMG on the trunk lid. Tuned by the automaker's independent performance division, these titans of European motoring offer all the traditional comfort and luxury you'd expect, but add a dollop of furious DTM-themed performance on top, creating one serious slice of automobile as a result. Available in several different body styles, two-door variants include a coupe and a cabriolet, with either the twin-turbo V-8-powered S63 or the twin-turbo V-12-powered S65 rounding out the powertrain options. Keeping things fresh, Merc just announced updates for the 2018 model year, including tweaked styling and a new V8 for the S63, once again continuing the tradition established over 6 decades in the past. However, this latest refresh brings with it a few questions, the most pressing of which pertains to the S63's new engine. While the 8 gets a displacement downgrade, power is up, challenging the 12 in terms of peak output and straight up trouncing the S65 in terms of acceleration numbers. Which begs the question, why get the S65 when the S63 is arguably the better buy? Read on to find out, plus learn about all the updates for 2018. Continue to learn more about the Mercedes-AMG S63 and S65. Exterior. Per industry refresh tradition, the new AMG S63 and S65 get a few tweaks to the exterior styling, with the biggest difference seen in the front end. Replacing the outgoing model's bisected mesh intake cover is a series of chromed-out vertical slats, interrupted only by the requisite three-pointed Mercedes star. Merc calls it the Panamericana grille, giving a nod to the front end of such historically significant automobiles as the Carrera Panamericana winning W194-300 SL. Additionally, the new AMG two-door gets a revamped front splitter, which Merc says helps reduce overall front-end lift. The side intakes also get a redesign with smaller, rounder shapes, as compared to the longer, slimmer intakes seen before. High-gloss black trim is used throughout. As you can see, though, the look isn't a major departure from what we've seen before. Note: 2017 Mercedes-AMG S65 Coupe pictured on the left, 2018 Mercedes-AMG S65 Coupe pictured on the right. Moving to the profile, the S-Class gets updates to the side including revamped side skirts boasting 3D inlays and chrome detailing, plus side view mirrors with a ceramic mirror polishing. In the corners you'll find a lightweight alloy wheels, with 19 inches equipped as standard on the S63, and forged 20-inch rollers as standard on the S65. Go for the S65, and your wheels will boast a unique, 16-spoke design, with a variety of alternative designs on the table. Wheel width for the 20 inches is staggered at 8.5 inches in front and 9.5 inches wide in the rear. There's also a forged aluminum wheel bolt cover, another nod to Merc's motorsport career. Merc calls it the Panamericana grille, giving a nod to the front end of such historically significant automobiles as the Carrera Panamericana winning W194-300 SL. In back, the rear was updated with a new apron and diffuser insert, plus an updated design for the twin tailpipes. The taillights now get an OLED organic light-emitting diode lighting element, enabling a unique curved appearance thanks to thinner film. A total of 33 OLEDs are used per light, 66 OLEDs total. The S-Class also gets a "Coming Home" feature, which will activate the various lighting elements when first unlocking the car. Competing style. Note: Bentley Continental GT pictured on the left, Rolls-Royce Wraith pictured on the right. When it comes to large and in-charge European luxury at the top of the pyramid, Bentley is one name that seems to stand above the rest. In this segment, the Continental GT is the nameplate of choice, and as it just so happens, the British automaker has revealed an update that directly challenges the new AMG S-Class. Outside, look for styling reminiscent of the EXP10 Speed 6 concept, down to the shape of the grille and fascia. LED matrix lighting illuminates the road ahead, while 21-inch wheels are standard. 22-inch wheels are available, while customers can also choose between 17 different exterior paint options. Rolls-Royce is another big name player in this space, with the iconic Wraith taking on the sporting two-door segment. Up front, the roller's squared-off features make it instantly recognizable, while the Spirit of Ecstasy takes the traditional spot on top of the hood. The fastback profile, plus-sized wheel fitment, and slick rear hinged doors complete the look. Complementing the stylish lines is a two-tone paint scheme. Interior. Step into the cabin of the new AMG S-Class, and you'll find a sumptuous, luxury-laden interior space that's positively dripping in high-end appointment. We think the layout looks great, while high-end materials like Nappa leather, black piano lacquer trim, and carbon fiber doodads pervade throughout. As you probably expect, there are Mercedes and AMG badges galore, including embossed logos added directly to the upholstery. There's even an analog clock from IWC, with 3D milled metal hands and metal appliques. More importantly, drivers will grip a 3-spoke performance-style steering wheel, with a flat bottom, wheel-mounted paddle shifters, and a leather cover. Options include black Nappa leather and Dinamica microfiber. Providing the backside coddling are AMG power seats with a memory function and thick side bolsters, plus a seat heating function for those sitting in front. Info like boost pressure, G-forces, and tire temperature is offered through the AMG menu, because who wouldn't want a swath of performance data in a six-figure luxury car? On the infotainment front, the S-Class gets its own AMG display behind the steering wheel, with a 31.2 cm (12.28-inch) TFT widescreen display. This digital readout provides all the usual info to the diver, including stuff like engine RPM, road speed, and the like. Drivers get a variety of options for the display design, including Classic, Sport, and Progressive. More info is offered through the AMG menu, throwing in critical stuff like engine oil temp, transmission oil temp, lateral and longitudinal G-forces, horsepower and torque levels, boost pressure, tire temps, and more. Because after all, who wouldn't want a swath of performance data in a six-figure luxury car? Sure. Competing cabins. Note, Bentley Continental GT pictured on the left, Rolls-Royce Wraith pictured on the right. One of the most enticing aspects of any Bentley is what you get inside the cabin, and although it's got tons of performance, the Continental GT doesn't skimp when it comes to interior appointment. Prominent on the dash is a new infotainment display, which gets a rotating design offering either a 12.3-inch digital readout, a trio of analog gauges, or a clean piece of wood trim. Speaking of trim, expect only the best materials on the market inside this coupe, with leather upholstery, diamond stitching, aluminum bits, and as many as 15 individual color schemes to choose from. 20-way seat adjustability, heating and cooling, and a massage function are included in the seats, while an optional 2,200-watt stereo can be had for extra outlay. The cabin of the Rolls-Royce Wraith is also a rather nice place to be, matching the competition in terms of elegance and high-end materials blow for blow. Standout features include the unique Starlight headliner, which mounts roughly 1,340 fiber optic lamps into the roof, offering a view reminiscent of the night sky. An analog clock is mounted in the dash, while the RR logo is embroidered into the headrests. All the various toggles and switches are hewn from metal and look fantastic. Drivetrain. Arguably the biggest, most impactful update to the new Mercedes-AMG S-Class is what the S63 is packing under the hood. Both the coupe and cabriolet models come equipped with an AMG-built 4.0-liter V8 stuffed by a pair of twin-scroll turbochargers. The new 4.0-liter replaces the outgoing 5.5-liter V8 biturbo powerplant used in the previous model, once again mounting the turbochargers inside the V of the V8 in a hot V design, sharpening throttle response and lowering the boost spool time as a result. Although the displacement was decreased, the new 4.0-liter boasts more power than the old 5.5-liter, up to a max of 612 horses between 5,500 and 6,000 revolutions per minute, which is a 27-horse increase over the old 5.5-liter. Torque is rated at 900 Nm 664 pound-feet between 2,750 and 4,500 revolutions per minute. Although the displacement was decreased, the new 4.0-liter boasts more power than the old 5.5-liter, up to a max of 612 horses, a 27-horse increase over the old 5.5-liter. Although power is up, fuel consumption remains relatively conservative thanks to features like cylinder deactivation. Put it in the proper drive mode, comfort mode will suffice, engaging between 1000 and 3250 revolutions per minute and noted in the instrument cluster, and the V8 will cut out cylinders 2, 3, 5, and 8, turning it into a gas-sipping 4-banger. Mated to the new V8 is a fresh AMG Speedshift 9-speed transmission and variable all-wheel drive 4MODH Plus system. The 0 to 62 mph sprint is done in 3.5 seconds. Mated to the new V8 is a fresh AMG Speedshift 9-speed transmission and variable all-wheel drive 4MODH Plus system. The 9-speed gearbox is a first for the S63, and arrives with a double clutching feature for faster downshifts, plus a wet clutch rather than a torque converter. There's also launch control and a race start feature. Left-hand drive variants get AWD as standard. With an electro-mechanical clutch between the front and rear axle and a fully variable torque split, the system promises a seamless transition between RWD and AWD. Meanwhile, right-hand drive S63 models are RWD only, but do get the same updated 4.0-liter engine and 9-speed transmission as left-hand drive variants. Critically, the S63 does the 0 to 62 mph sprint in 3.5 seconds. Top speed is electronically limited at 250 km per hour, 155 miles per hour, but can be bumped to 300 km per hour, 186 miles per hour with the optional AMG driver's package. Above the S63 is the range-topping S65 coupe and cabriolet, which tosses the V8 in favor of a twin-turbocharged 6.0-liter V12. Peak output is rated at a slightly higher 630 horsepower between 4,800 and 5,400 revolutions per minute, while the torque curve is fatter at 1,000 Newton-meters (738 pound-feet) between 2,300 and 4,300 revolutions per minute. Unlike the V8, the 12 does without cylinder deactivation and routes power exclusively to the rear wheels. Handling the cog swaps is a 7-speed transmission, with Sport Plus mode providing the quickest performance numbers. The sprint from 0 to 62 miles per hour is done in 4.1 seconds, while top speed is once again limited at 250 km per hour but can be bumped to 300 km per hour with the optional AMG driver's package. Above the S63 is the range-topping S65 coupe and cabriolet, which tosses the V8 in favor of a twin-turbocharged 6.0-liter V12. Peak output is rated at a slightly higher 630 horsepower, while the torque curve is fatter at 738 pound-feet. Which brings us to the big question, why get the V12? After all, the V8 is only slightly less powerful, but boasts a much faster 0 to 62 mph time. The 8 is also cleaner and more efficient. So what's the point? Well, if you've ever heard of V12, the answer should be pretty obvious. Fire up that AMG exclusive exhaust system and dip into the loud pedal, then ask yourself, is the soundtrack worth the extra outlay? Speaking of sound, the AMG Performance exhaust system is standard, offering a controllable, infinitely adjustable flap that will modify the amount of sound you want to hear. Fire up that AMG exclusive exhaust system and dip into the loud pedal, then ask yourself, is the soundtrack worth the extra outlay? Furthermore, if speed is what you're after, you'll enjoy the onboard race start program. Just press both pedals to the floor, then release the brake, and the computer figures it all out for you. Point and squirt. Finally, it should be mentioned that fuel consumption ranges between 12 and 9.3 liters per 100 kilometers, while combined CO2 emissions ranges between 279 and 211 grams per kilometer, V12 at the high end and V8 at the low end, respectively. Drivetrain specifications. Competing drivetrains. Speaking of 12-cylinder power plants, the Bentley Continental GT has the goods to make the go, packing a twin-turbo 6.0-liter W12 under that rounded hood. Peak output is rated at 626 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, besting the previous model by a sizable 44 horsepower and 133 pound-feet of torque. Sending the power to the wheels is an 8-speed automatic gearbox. A high-performance AWD system puts the power to the pavement. Acceleration looks like 3.6 seconds to the 60 miles per hour mark, while top speed tops out at 207 miles per hour. Meanwhile, the Rolls-Royce Wraith also boasts a 12-cylinder powertrain, rocking as much as 624 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. All that oomph is routed through an 8-speed automatic gearbox sourced from world-renowned transmission producer ZF. Press your foot firmly into the luxurious carpet, and you'll see 60 miles per hour in roughly 4.4 seconds, while top speed is electronically limited at 155 miles per hour, although, with the governor off, much more is possible. Suspension and chassis. To help it handle like a lithe little sports car and not a overweight shipping container, the AMG S-Class utilizes a variety of specialty equipment and settings, including more wheel camber, larger anti-roll bar, and a more rigid subframe mount, all of which promise more sportiness in the corners. Of course, there's plenty of technology on board to help the thing turn as well. Starting it off as a 3-stage ESP system, with settings including on, sport handling mode, more yaw allowed, and off. Further handling refinement can be had with the AMG Dynamic Select system, which offers settings like Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and Individual, affecting changes to the engine, transmission, suspension steering, and, when equipped, the AWD system. Interestingly, the S63 also gets a race setting, while the S65 gets something called Curve. Put it in comfort, and suspension gets soft, there's less exhaust noise, cylinder deactivation mode is active S63 only, and the glide feature kicks in, disengaging the clutch and transmission between 60 km per hour, 37 miles per hour, and 160 km per hour, 99 miles per hour, to decrease parasitic loss, thus enhancing efficiency. Sport and Sport Plus modes sharpen the throttle, tighten the gearshift, and firms up the suspension. Race is pretty much self-explanatory. Sport and Sport Plus modes sharpen the throttle, tighten the gearshift, and firms up the suspension. Race is pretty much self-explanatory. The S65's Curve mode is interesting though, and bears some clarification. Active between 15 km per hour, 9 miles per hour, and 180 km per hour, 112 miles per hour, Curve mode will adjust the suspension in such a way as to tilt the body of the car into a corner up to a maximum of 2.65 degrees, or as Merc describes, similar to a motorcycle rider, thus enhancing overall comfort. If the idea of a leaning car body sounds more nausea-inducing than comfort-enhancing, the system can be deactivated altogether. Both the S63 and S65 get AMG ride control, utilizing adaptive dampers in the suspension and complementing the multiple drive modes with independent settings for rebound and compression. The driver can program the settings as desired, and there's even a manual shift mode that leaves cog swap operation exclusively to the paddles, if desired. Both the S63 and S65 get AMG ride control, utilizing adaptive dampers in the suspension and complementing the multiple drive modes with independent settings for rebound and compression. The S65 also gets something active ride control, which will scan the road ahead using an onboard camera and automatically adjust the settings to keep the ride appropriately comfortable, fine-tuning the settings to soak up any aberrations detected. Ride height can be raised by as much as 40 mm (1.57 inches) to help the S-Class make it across bumps or steeply angled roads and driveways. At high speeds, the ride height is lowered by 15 mm (0.59 inches) for more stable handling. The steering setup is a speed-sensitive, electromechanical system with a variable ratio tuned by AMG. AMG also redid the brakes. The steering setup is a speed-sensitive, electromechanical system with a variable ratio tuned by AMG. AMG also redid the brakes, mounting 390 mm 15.4 inch by 36 mm 1.4 inch composite discs with 6-piston aluminum calipers in front, plus 360 mm 14.2 inch by 24 mm 0.94 inch discs and single-piston calipers in the rear. Options include AMG carbon ceramic discs, plus the requisite AMG branding on the calipers. Finally, overall weight is cut thanks to the inclusion of a lithium-ion starter battery, lightweight alloy wheels, and those composite brakes as well. Competing suspension and chassis. Note: Bentley Continental GT pictured on the left, Rolls-Royce Wraith pictured on the right. Bentley updated the Continental GT this time around with a new adaptive chassis setup called the Intelligent Dynamic Ride System. Like the Merc, the Bentley system was designed to adjust the suspension settings to more adequately soak up aberrant road features, this time using electronic actuators on the anti-roll bars to neutralize unwanted body roll. The Bentley also utilizes an air suspension system that complements the dynamic ride system with 3-chamber air springs, enhancing overall comfort when you want it, and sharpening the handling when you don't. Meanwhile, the Rolls-Royce Wraith was recently retuned to offer lighter steering and better control in the corners. Indeed, one of the roller's greatest strength is its supple ride quality, but it still has some pretty healthy sporting chops as well thanks to the multi-link suspension front and back, air springs, electronic dampers, and adaptive anti-roll bars. Prices. Customers have lots of options on the table when it comes time to customize their S-Class. A variety of packages for both aesthetic upgrades and additional equipment are offered, including the night package, alternative wheel designs, and the carbon package. There's even an AMG track pack for enhanced motorsport agility, throwing in data collection to help you clip off a few tenths at the track day. You know, because an enormous luxury coupe or cabriolet really is the ideal track car. Once more around the hairpin, Jeeves, and this time with gusto. At launch, Merc is offering the exclusive Yellow Night Edition for the S63 Coupe, with availability presented for 6 months after the initial launch. Painted in either selenite gray Magno or night black Magno, the special edition gets a yellow trim strip on the side view mirrors, 7-spoke wheels finished in black with a polished lip, yellow calipers on standard ceramic brake discs, a larger front splitter, a high-gloss black spoiler, and AMG racing stripes. The yellow theme continues inside with the AMG sports seats, AMG performance steering wheel, dash, beltline, door panels, armrests, center console, and floor mats, plus there's unique badging inside as well. For now, MSRP for the S63 starts at $164,750 for the coupe and $176,400 for the cabriolet. Step up to the S65, and you're looking at $236,250 for the coupe and $247,900 for the cabriolet. Mercedes has yet to announce official pricing numbers, but we're not expecting too many changes in that respect. For now, MSRP for the S63 starts at $164,750 for the coupe and $176,400 for the cabriolet. Step up to the S65, and you're looking at $236,250 for the coupe and $247,900 for the cabriolet. Look for the car to make its official debut at the Frankfurt Motor Show later this month. Competing prices. Note: Bentley Continental GT pictured on the left, Rolls-Royce Wraith pictured on the right. The Bentley Continental GT starts at $198,500, while the Rolls-Royce Wraith starts at $315,700. Read the full review for the 2018 Bentley Continental GT. Read the full review for the Rolls-Royce Wraith. Other options. Audi 7 rupees. It might have 4 doors, but don't be fooled, this is still one heavy dose of German performance. Making the go as a 4.0-liter V8 force-fed by 2 turbochargers, blessing this 4-ring sedan with 560 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque and a 0 to 62 mph time of 3.9 seconds. Opt into the Dynamics package and you'll see as much as 190 miles per hour at the top end. Paired with faultless German refinement in the interior and an MSRP of just $104,900, and this is definitely a worthwhile alternative to the Merc for more budget-strapped individuals. Read the full review on the Audi 7 rupees. BMW M6 Series Grand Coupe. Like the Mercedes-AMG division, BIMer's M division has a few tricks up its sleeves. If it's two-door performance with tons of interior space that you're after, then the M6 Grand Coupe has the goods. The party piece is a twin-turbo 4.4-liter V8 producing as much as 560 horsepower and 502 pound-feet of torque through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The 0 to 60 mph sprint is completed in just 4.1 seconds, while top speed is electronically limited at 155 miles per hour. Inside, standout features include a heads-up display, rear-view camera, high beam assist, lane change assist, parking assist, and more. Read the full review on the BMW M6 Series Grand Coupe. Conclusion. The S63 and S65 are impressive machines, no doubt about it. This is the segment where Mercedes' refinement really shines, offering passengers the chance to sit in the ultimate comfort and luxury. At the same time, the AMG badges mean this thing can unleash a furious blast of motorsport-themed speed and performance when asked, making for one enticing package. But all those pros don't come without their own set of cons. The V12, for example, seems particularly pointless. Yes, the soundtrack is impressive, but are you really gonna pay more than $70 grand extra just for those 4 additional cylinders, even when the V8 is nearly as powerful, more efficient, less polluting, and most importantly, much faster? Of course you will. Because in this segment, $70,000 is a pittance. Are you really gonna pay $70 grand extra just for those 4 additional cylinders, even when the V8 is nearly as powerful, more efficient, less polluting, and most importantly, much faster? Of course you will. Of course you will. Because in this segment, $70,000 is a pittance, and V12s are tasteful. And that's the philosophy of a car like this. You can't really measure it in terms of money. Well, okay, you could, but that would be unbecoming of the patrons Mercedes is shooting for. You peasant. Regardless, this is premium motoring, with nothing but the best on tap, and that's just how it is. Love it. Crazy speed from such a heavy, comfortable vehicle. All the usual Mercedes perks. Optional V12 soundtrack. Leave it. Still very expensive. V8 is faster, more efficient, less polluting, less expensive. What's the point of the V12? What's the point of track day gear in a car like this? References. 2018 Mercedes S-Class. Read our full review on the 2018 Mercedes S-Class. 2018 Mercedes S-Class Coupe. Read our full review on the 2018 Mercedes S-Class Coupe. 2018 Mercedes S-Class Cabriolet. Read our full review on the 2018 Mercedes S-Class Cabriolet.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.